Yo, what up? Hold on, let me go close the door so it's not so loud in here. Yeah, let me go do that real quick. All right. College football playoff, man. I don't know how I feel about it, to be honest. I really don't. Really don't here. By the way, guys, ladder challenge this week. It's gonna be epic. Can't wait. Let me pull up a Google tab here. I gotta look up some info. Hold on. Yo, what up, Dustin? What's happening, bro? Let me pull up Google. Google. Boom. All right. Let me get rid of this. I got so much stuff open. So much stuff, man. Love this time of the year. Yeah, man. It's like everything, right? And college basketball, I still feel like we're about 10 more days. 10 more days, almost 2 weeks left before college basketball gets it just starts to get pretty predictable and we get into conference play and stuff like that. But guys, college football playoff. Let's talk about the games, man. I'm going to be trying to go live. I've been working on like a schedule and I'm just trying to figure out I'm going to try to figure out what days or what time of the day I can go live and do it consistently. But yeah, guys, I don't know. It's going to be a big week. So tomorrow, Tuesday, I'm dropping NFL Week 15 video. Of course, I hit you guys with another whiteboard winning free pick, man. Been killing those. So look forward to the NFL video tomorrow. I'm going to go over every single game in the NFL for the upcoming week. And it's a good one. I feel like this I did well. I went 6-1 on Week 14, but I felt like that was tricky. Do you guys feel like the last week NFL was tricky? I mean, I'm happy I went 6-1. It was a good day, but I feel like this week in NFL is significantly better, and I feel better than I did last week. So really looking forward to NFL this week. I'm gonna watch some of it. You like SMU and Clemson getting in? I don't like Clemson getting in. I mean, that game was rigged for them to win. No doubt about it. It was rigged for Clemson to get in. For the brand name. I thought SMU was the better team. They just got in such a hole early. There was some calls, some missed calls, some stuff that went on really early in that game. Clemson's not a good football team. They're not good. I mean, what's the spread? I mean, they're laying it's like 11, is it not? 10.5, 11.5 to Texas. They're not good. Clemson's gonna lose. But them getting in, it's a joke. It's a joke, man. They have 3 losses. They suck. Clemson's horrible. Clemson is absolutely terrible. Ole Miss, South Carolina. South Carolina beat Clemson. I mean, there's a lot of teams that would be a little bit more entertaining to play Texas. Like at least like South Carolina physically would match up with Texas. Like if we're going to substitute in other teams into that Clemson position, I just feel like there's a lot of other teams that could at least hang there. Jesus, man, I'll take Florida in there. I'll take Baylor in there. I'll take Kansas State in there. I'd give BYU a shot. I don't know. There's a lot of teams I like more than Clemson, but that's okay. It creates opportunity for betting. So not the worst thing in the world. Clemson and SMU getting smoked round 1. Yeah, I disagree with that. I think SMU can be competitive. I thought Penn State got a really nice path, but I think Penn State, their second game, if they can get by SMU, Penn State's second game is significantly easier, in my opinion. I think SMU is better than Boise State, and I have no doubt about that. Boise State stinks. Genty, I get it. The running back, the numbers. Yeah, he doesn't impress me. Put him in the SEC. I bet he wouldn't even rush for, 80 to 100 yards a game. They play a competent defensive front with Penn State. I think they might be in trouble. So, I really hope Penn State can get by SMU. I think SMU is a much more difficult task for Penn State than Boise State. If Penn State can get by SMU, I think, they could really be off to the races. So something to watch with that. Mark Jacobs says, -11 Texas. I think it's a good line to bet ahead of time. But Clemson brand name will push it down at 10 or 9 points. No, no, that is not going to single digits. It's dropped half of a point, or it's come down about a point depending on what line you look at for open, 11.5 to 10.5 at some books. And I can check. Maybe it's moved, but no, you're not going to see single digits. And if you do, that's extremely alarming for Texas. No, there's no way. There's no way they're going to give us 9 and even 9.5 on Texas, in my opinion. The spread right now, it's 10.5 or 11.5, depending on where you look. It's going to be as low as it goes, in my opinion. Yeah, I get it. They're a brand name, but so is Texas. Texas is arguably much bigger in terms of brand names. The experts will love Notre Dame, of course. What do you think? I don't know about that. That game's, I don't know. Indiana, Notre Dame. I think you just watch a game like that. I don't think there's a real edge. What's the spread in that one? Indiana, Notre Dame. It's a 7.5. I don't know. I really don't know. I really don't know yet. I haven't even looked into this. I've just kind of brought this up. Figured I'd do a live stream tonight and, just kind of talk through some stuff, some early numbers and things like that. Get your guys' opinions more than anything on this stuff. Once I look into it, I might find significant edge on some of these teams, and I might end up finding stuff that leads me to make a bet. So, regardless of what I say today, my opinions can definitely change. I'll have a video out where I am going to go over every game in at least in round 1 here for the college football playoff, I think. So I'll probably have that up maybe later this week. I got to fit in this ladder challenge as well because we're going to be doing the ladder challenge this week. So yeah, man, a lot of stuff going on right now, but yeah, great time of year, man. South Carolina this year, all over South Carolina this year for hoops or for football. I'll be so pissed if Texas and Georgia make it. Back to the playoff? Dustin, you mean like if the championship is those two teams? Is that kind of what you're talking about? Because I agree. We've seen it twice. We don't need to see it a third time. Texas has lost both in the finals. Yeah, no, I don't want to see it again. And if it happened again, I would bet on Texas. But yeah, we've seen it twice. How many times? It's like UFC. How many times do we need to see, McGregor and Nate Diaz fight? Texas has a clear path. Do they? Do they? I don't think anybody has a clear path, man. Nobody has a clear path here. Arizona State, I don't know. You don't think Arizona State could give Texas a run for their money? They just absolutely pulverized Iowa State. Good coach, good energy, capable quarterback. I think Arizona State's quarterback is better than Georgia's. I think Arizona State's offense overall is better than Georgia's. I don't know, man. I think Arizona State and Texas, if Texas can get by Clemson, if Texas can beat Clemson, I would love to see the line. And, you might even be able to look it up. They might even have like futures lines, like hypothetical situations out there right now. I'm probably pretty sure if you dug deep enough on the internet, you could find a hypothetical line, like a spread prediction of what it would be Texas, Arizona State if it does end up being those two. But if there's a lot of points involved, I would definitely be looking towards Arizona State over Texas if there's enough points. Everything, it all comes down to the spread. But Texas, man, I mean, who's Texas beat? I mean, Texas, they didn't cover against Kentucky. They didn't cover against Vandy. I mean, I don't know. Who is Texas to just be, free path? I definitely don't think so, man. Texas path, not so much Georgia, but you could see it. Nope, Georgia, we already made that mistake being on Texas last weekend. Yeah, I wouldn't say that. I mean, it wasn't a mistake being on Texas over Georgia. An injury was the wild card in the game. If Carson Beck didn't get hurt and Carson Beck was the quarterback that Georgia was going to go with for the second half, Texas would have won that game for sure. But when the new guy comes in, we saw the big energy spark. It just sparked the whole team. Everybody rallied around the new guy. He comes in. You don't have film on him. You don't have a game plan for him. And it was just like a breath of fresh air for Georgia. And the momentum took over. I have absolutely zero doubt Texas would have won that game if Carson Beck did not get hurt. And for Georgia's sake, even if Carson Beck, even if he is healthy enough to play, I think that's a mistake. I think that's a huge mistake. I think Georgia football needs to go with this backup quarterback throughout the remainder of the season. I think they have a tremendous chance to win the entire thing if they leave him at quarterback. Carson Beck, man, he is he's trash. He's borderline trash. Arizona State's so underrated. Yeah. I don't know about underrated. They're in the college football playoff and they have a bye. Definitely not underrated. They're on the radar now, man. I think everybody's starting to become quite familiar with them. Tennessee, Ohio State, and Oregon in the same bracket. Loaded there. Is it though? Is the Big Ten even good? Would you say that's loaded? I would say. I mean, I don't know. Oh, Oh, you mean the little quadrant there? The little quadrant, the top left there. You're looking at. Yeah, that sucks for Oregon. That's brutal. That's brutal. You get the winner of Tennessee and Ohio State. I mean, it'd be hard to beat Ohio State twice, right? You already beat them, but it was a home game. So now you'd have to beat them twice, and they're coming off an embarrassing loss. I probably like Ohio State's chances over Oregon. And Tennessee, Oregon would be super interesting because Tennessee has the defense, but offensively, I don't know if they could keep pace on the scoreboard with Oregon. So it'll definitely be interesting to see, Tennessee or Ohio State, see who gets by that game. That'll create a very interesting round 2 there for Oregon. I think if you're an Oregon fan, I think you're rooting on Tennessee. But Tennessee's physical. They're physical. They have a good line of scrimmage. So that's a tough one. ASU picked last in preseason conference. Yeah, for the Big 12. The Big 12 was all over. I mean, a lot of people weren't that high in Colorado. A lot of people weren't that high. I mean, a lot of teams overachieved. West Virginia overachieved. A lot of teams underachieved. I mean, I think Utah was disappointing, even with the quarterback situation. Oklahoma State, I mean, talk about disappointment. That's got to be the number one letdown the entire year for college football was Oklahoma State. I think Mike Gundy shouldn't have opened his mouth about the money and the players. They basically quit on that team. Arizona State could beat Texas, you think? Yeah, I agree. Anybody can beat anybody. I mean, what's the biggest long shot here? What's the biggest long shot? And forget the actual spread. Like what? Like just eye test here. What's the shocker? What would shock us? Clemson over Texas? Would that be the shock? I don't think SMU over Penn State is that shocking. I don't think SMU over Penn State would be that insane. Indiana over Notre Dame? Would anybody be surprised? I don't think so. It would be an upset, but I don't think we'd all be like stunned. I think for round 1, probably Clemson over Texas would be the most puzzling one. Scadaboo, the best running back in the country. Man, I don't know. Arizona State potentially, right? Potentially is going to face Texas. Okay. That's your answer, because Texas has the big boys. Texas has a nasty defense. We'll know about Scadaboo. We'll know about both these running backs. We're going to know so fast, man. We're going to know so fast. If Penn State can beat SMU and Texas can get by Clemson, we are going to know very, very fast how good Ashton Genty and Cam Scadaboo, we're going to know how good these backs are, man. Iowa State was flat, disinterested, weak, soft, gutless. They didn't want to tackle him. Texas, come on, Texas. I think Texas is going to, I'm not going to say make them look silly, but I would love to see if Cam Scadaboo can run wild on Texas. That would surprise me. That would be a shock. And the same thing with Boise. I think Genty could really struggle versus Penn State. So interesting there. But Penn State, man, they didn't tackle well in that Oregon game. Disappointed with their defense overall. I don't know how you let up that many points. That game was insane. The Penn State Oregon game. I do not understand how a total can go over like that on that level. I mean, the total was set at like 50. It was on pace for almost 100 for a while there. Insane. So kind of lost faith with Penn State with that game. That was bad. Boise State, biggest upset would be Boise State. Yeah, in the semis. I'm talking just round one here. For sure. Yeah, Boise State. I don't know. I almost feel like I mean, if you're talking round two, the biggest upset you could possibly get would be like Tennessee over Oregon or Indiana over Georgia. Those would be much bigger than Boise State. Boise State's second round. First round, the biggest upset, I think, would be Clemson. If Clemson wins, that would be the biggest. Second round, it would be probably Indiana getting by Notre Dame and Georgia, I think, would be the biggest upset. Maybe Tennessee over Oregon, not Boise State. Boise State would be third, maybe. I don't even know about that. If Clemson got by Texas and then beat Arizona State, maybe that's, I don't know. I don't know. Let's pull up, let me pull up FanDuel. Or no, I wanted to pull up ESPN and look at stats on those games, actually. By the way, guys, this ladder challenge video, I think I'm going to drop it on, let's see. I'm going to drop it on Wednesday. I think I'm going to drop it on Wednesday. This ladder challenge round one. If you guys didn't catch my video that was uploaded today, between now and New Year's Eve, I'm going to go ahead and take $1,000 and turn it to 25,000. So not as many bets as your typical ladder challenge. I think the ones most you guys see on the internet are 10 bets, right? 10 rounds, double it every single time. You take a tiny bit of money up to like 10 grand or something. That's unrealistic. It's just not going to happen. So I'm going to take $1,000, turn it to 25K. All we got to do is hit like 5 bets. So ladder challenge, simple. 1K, 25K. Make a cool 25 grand here in the next few weeks. Dallas versus Cincy. What do you like today? Andy, I already dropped the vid, man. Check out you can exit out and click on the video I uploaded today. I have a same game parlay out for tonight that everybody can follow. Let me find this ESPN bracket here. College football playoff bracket ESPN. Need the ESPN one so we can click on the other info. Here we go. 2024. All right, cool. Let me switch this around. Let's get rid of that. Let me actually, how do I switch this? How do I switch this around? Let me switch this. Let me switch this up. Boom. Let's switcheroo. Let's do a switcheroo. So this is what I wanted to look at. Clemson, Texas here. Matchup predictor, ESPN, 80%. Mafa. So Mafa is going to be a big part of this one. 214 carries, 1,000, about 1,100 yards, 8 touchdowns. Interesting. Klubnik, man. Klubnik is going to, I think he's going to, boy, he's the wild card in this matchup. He could really struggle here. I kind of like the under. I think I kind of like the under in this game. 51.5. 51.5, man. 51.5 for Texas Clemson. What do you guys think about that? Did you bet under or over that? That's crazy. That's crazy. Too high. Unless Texas offense just comes to life, lights up Clemson. Then Clemson has to play catch up. I mean, let's look at the team schedule here for Clemson. Let's look at Clemson. They got 3 losses. They lost to Georgia, first game of the season, throw it out, doesn't matter. First games of the season, I'm not going to put a lot of faith into that. Klubnik only threw for 142. Moff only ran for about 60. Yeah, interesting. App State, beyond bad. Throw that game out. NC State, beyond bad. Stanford, beyond bad. Florida State, Wake Forest. Virginia is actually decent. I actually bet Virginia in that game and got a cover. But that 5-game stretch after that first loss, App State, NC State, Stanford, Florida State, and Wake, that is abysmal. That is so unbelievably bad. Virginia, at home. Louisville, wasn't even close. I don't care. The final score is 33-21. That game was dominated. They got owned at home by Louisville. Absolutely killed. And it was a night game. Crazy. Virginia Tech, they fell apart pretty much after the Miami game. That was like their last gasp. Pitt, they got Pitt at the worst time. Pitt got some early good wins over West Virginia, some comeback wins, man. They came back against West Virginia in crazy fashion. Cincinnati, Pittsburgh sucks. They're not a good football team at all. The Citadel, South Carolina, they took an L, and then SMU is rigged. So Clemson's schedule is like unbelievable. This is unbelievable that this team's in the playoff. It's actually disgusting. It's actually insane. Georgia lost. I'm not even gonna give them a negative for that. It's the first game of the year. I don't, first games of the year, I don't think you can put a lot of stock into that. So just take that out. App State, NC State, Stanford, Florida State, and Wake is a high school schedule. Virginia actually is okay. They still won. Louisville, they were never in the game. They got Virginia Tech and Pitt like at their worst. The Citadel, self-explanatory, barely could score, lost the game to South Carolina, and SMU they won because it was rigged. So there is nothing. There is nothing on the resume of Clemson that impresses me at all. 0. It actually goes the other way. I'm not even neutral. I'm like low on this team. I think Dabo is an average coach, a little above average. I think a lot of these coaches, man, in college football, just on certain years, they're just blessed with the right talent. Ed Ogeron at LSU, blessed with one of the best rosters in college football ever. Is he actually a good coach? No, he's unemployed right now. I mean, I don't know. Jimbo Fisher, all these guys have these runs where they just have the talent, man. And I think that's kind of what Dabo had there at Clemson for a while. Clemson doesn't impress me, man. I think the spot was too big. I think the spot was too big for SMU. They were SMU was just the lights were too bright, and it was rigged for Clemson to get in. Hit the thumbs up or not. Obviously, under, neither are going to score. Yeah, I think Texas can score. No problem. Under, Clemson won't score more than 14. Okay, interesting. Maffa dealing with shoulder injury while his stats so low. We'll see how healthy he is. Very true. Was used more as a decoy. Yeah, I don't know. I thought they used him a fair amount in the SMU game. Let's look at the schedule for Texas now. Colorado State, pathetic. Michigan, you could argue when they played Michigan. Well, the double-edged sword for Texas in the Michigan game. Because I was going to say, you could argue that Michigan played, well, they did. They undeniably played better football at the end of the year. Michigan did get better throughout the year. I'll give them that. They were pretty competitive, pretty solid down the stretch. And that totally disregard the Ohio State. That's a rivalry game. I'm talking about other games. Like, they were actually pretty competitive against Indiana. They actually have looked pretty good in a fair amount of games. So you could argue Texas played Michigan when Michigan was not playing their best football. But you could also argue, because they played Michigan so early in the year, the hype and the energy and the expectation of Michigan was still super, super high. They're ranked 10 in the country, so take it for what it is. UTSA, forget it. UM Monroe, forget it. Miss State, pathetic. Oklahoma, they played Oklahoma when Oklahoma was arguably at their worst. So up until that point, similar to Clemson, abysmal schedule. I mean, at Michigan, they're a physical team. I don't know. Their offense was so bad at that time. I'm not going to put a lot of stock into that. They got Oklahoma like their worst. I know Red River rivalry, but forget it. Georgia, they got swamped. They got absolutely slapped against Georgia in that first game. Final score doesn't really dictate the game. It was dominated by Georgia. Vanderbilt beat Vanderbilt. Actually pretty impressive, to be honest. Like, that's solid. That's a really good win. That's really, really good. Florida played good football down the stretch. That's a good win. At Arkansas, that's a good win. Like, that's at least pretty solid. Kentucky, in a look-ahead spot with A&M on deck, and they still won 31-14. Defense showed up. I don't know. I thought Kentucky played pretty well in that game too. I watched the whole thing. Won a bet on Kentucky in that game. Actually, the spread was like 20. But and then Texas A&M, man, they have no offense. They're one-dimensional. No quarterback. Tough environment, though. Tough environment, and again, the defense showed up. So this is more significant than Clemson. Vandy, good. Florida, good. Arkansas, good. Don't screw up against Kentucky. Take care of A&M, and then Georgia, you ran into a situation where a fluky injury brought in this new quarterback that you didn't have a game plan for. You don't have film on him. He comes in, sparks the whole Georgia team. Georgia was the more desperate team. They already had 2 losses at the time. So I'm not going to put too much into losing to Georgia twice, because I think if it was Carson Beck throughout the duration of that game, that Texas easily would have came right out in the second half and flattened Georgia pretty good. I thought they dominated that first half. The penalties, and they just kind of played sloppy, but they were the better football team by far. So this is just far more impressive than Clemson. I mean, if we're gonna rotate the schedules and we're gonna put Clemson in here, Clemson might have lost at Michigan. Clemson might have lost to Oklahoma. They would have lost to Vandy. They would have lost to Florida. They would have lost at Arkansas. Kentucky is 50-50. They would have lost to Texas A&M, and they would have lost to Georgia. That would have been the results, in my opinion, if Clemson played this schedule. Clemson would have been damn near a 500 football team if they played Texas' schedule. And this is still one of the lighter schedule out of these playoff teams. So super interesting, man. Super, super interesting. Penn State, if Franklin don't coach it. Yeah, right? If you could just substitute in somebody to coach over there. Like the Kansas coach. Kansas or Kansas State, they both have great coaches. Coach Prime. No, Coach Prime, he just his skill players are so good. He's not a good coach at all, in my opinion. Texas has good, consistent D, at least. Yes, we can rely on that. And that pays dividends in the playoffs for sure. Best defense in the playoffs, Georgia or Tennessee? It's Texas. It's Texas by far. I'd put Tennessee behind it, but I think Ohio State's in the mix too. I think Ohio State's defense is pretty good. Definitely not Georgia, though. I don't think Georgia's defense is like crazy impressive. I thought they got some really, really lucky breaks. I think their secondary is pretty bad. Nice D line. Nice D line. They got some guys in the trenches. Some pretty good linebackers. Secondary, it's pretty bad, man. They basically got torched by Texas. Texas just had a really sloppy first half. And then the energy just got sucked out of the stadium for Texas when that new quarterback came in for Georgia and just took over, man. It was just shining. It's just his time, man. That's just how sports work. Let's go back here. Let me get rid of this. Hold on. Let's look at Tennessee and Ohio, or let's look more into this SMU game. I need to look at SMU's schedule. SMU schedule. Nevada, Houston Christian, BYU. Lost to BYU by 3. Interesting. Just couldn't score. Beat TCU. Put 66 on TCU. That's solid. Florida State, doesn't matter. Beat Louisville. That game was close. I watched that one. Pretty fortunate in that one. Still a solid win. Louisville had a lot of hype too at that time. I would say, I would argue that game for SMU was Louisville at their peak. Maybe it was the Clemson game, but I think that was one of the, just based on still having playoff hopes, and I don't know. I think that win at Louisville was solid. Stanford, Duke, forget it. And the Duke game, they won having 6 turnovers, 5 or 6. Still figured out a way to win. Beat Pitt, but Pitt was horrible at the time. Boston College was dealing with issues at the time. Virginia, end of the season, the energy had left the building. Cal, bad, and then Clemson, rigged. This is a cupcake schedule. This is the most pathetic schedule, I think in the entire playoff. I'll have to look at Boise State. This is pathetic. This is disgusting. This is really bad. The best win on here, I'd say the best game on here, it might be the Louisville win. It might even be just playing BYU competitive. But we saw how BYU turned out. Were they overrated? I mean, they should have lost to Oklahoma State. This schedule's horrible. And I don't care about the Clemson SMU final score, 34-31. I don't care about that. They got flattened, man. They got dominated. I mean, Clemson historically has given up a lot of leads in that fashion, and it's just easy to get points when teams kind of switch to a prevent defense. SMU schedule, man, this is miserable. There's nothing on this schedule. Even the scores, man. You can look at the scores. I mean, playing bad teams, a bad Boston College team by 10. There's nothing on this schedule that looks good at all. And then you finally played at Clemson and BYU and couldn't beat either of those two. This is not a playoff team. SMU's not a playoff team. To be honest, SMU should have been left out, man. If you couldn't, I don't care about the record. If you couldn't beat Clemson, you shouldn't be in the playoff. Why? Why should you be in the playoff with this schedule? I just don't understand it. What? Sorry, I had the wrong tab pulled up for you guys. This is, if you had this schedule and you couldn't even beat BYU or Clemson, you should not be in the playoff. I'll take Ole Miss. I'll take Alabama. I'll take Miami. Actually, I would prefer Miami because they have a great offense. They're fun to watch. SMU being in this playoff, I think, is the biggest screw up. Now, it was rigged for them to lose to Clemson, so I guess I give them a pass. But yeah, crazy. Do I like Hunter getting the Heisman? Yeah, absolutely. Best player in college football. I don't think it's close. That dude's Travis Hunter is unbelievable. Unbelievable. I can't even believe they put that Ashton Genty guy in the conversation. Let's bring up that schedule. Let's go back here. Hold on. Let me bring that back up. Let's look at Boise's schedule here. Let's do it. Boise's schedule. Full team schedule. Let's see what Boise State did. Now they were competitive against Oregon. We gotta put that in there. But if you guys remember, man, it took Oregon a long time to wake up. It took Oregon a significant amount of time to become the team they have become. Early in the year, Oregon was not impressive. They didn't even look like a playoff team. Dylan Gabriel's playing bad football. Boise State got Oregon arguably at their worst. So I'm not going to put too much stock into that. The rest of the schedule is the most horrifying, horrific thing I've ever seen. Portland State, Washington State. I mean, Washington State's actually like a halfway respectable game. Utah State, Hawaii, UNLV. Now, that's when UNLV was playing their best football. That's probably the best win on this entire schedule. San Diego State, Nevada, San Jose State, Wyoming, Oregon State, and UNLV again. This is 10 times worse than SMU. I actually take back what I say about SMU. This is pathetic. They have got to change the college football playoff to make sure, if you're going to keep it to 12 teams, you got to make sure you get the best 12. Boise State, I don't care about the record. They're not the best. They're not top 12 in the country. There are teams that would wipe the fucking floor with Boise State. My God. We're going to find out. Round 2 of this college football playoff, man. We're going to find out. It'll be really interesting what the spread is. Even if SMU beats Penn State, it'll be interesting, man, for sure. Very, very, very interesting. This is a pathetic, gutless, terrible schedule. I mean, oh my God, man. This is bad. This is really, really bad. Boise State, man, they're going to get rocked in that second round. I don't care who they play. Very, very bad football team. Oops. So what else on this playoff? I mean, the Notre Dame, and the Indiana matchup will be interesting. I'm curious to see how competitive that one is and who wins it. Georgia with preparation is scary. I think the fact that Georgia gets to sit there, Kirby Smart gets to watch that entire game and then prep for it. Notre Dame's physical. I think Notre Dame's physicality would give them at least a chance. Their defense and how physical they are. I think Notre Dame would have an opportunity to compete with Georgia. Indiana, I don't see it. But Indiana will have a significant mentality of, we're playing with house money. We're a big underdog. Everyone expects us to lose. Let's go prove something. And that's dangerous when you can play free and loose and relaxed like that, knowing you're expected to lose. Versus some of these other teams, like for Oregon, man, that first game, I mean, I bet Oregon's going to lose. I don't care who wins, Texas or Ohio State. I think Oregon could be in trouble in this one. Definitely interesting there. Definitely interesting. Let me bring up FanDuel though. I want to start looking at NFL Week 15. Let's maybe write down some stuff for this ladder challenge. By the way, here I still have the parlay up that I put together for you guys last night. So Cowboys, alt spread, alt over. Burrow, 1 touchdown. Jamar Chase, 40 yards. Burrow, 200. Cooper Rush, 150. It's minus 123. You know what this was when I gave it out last night? It was only minus 102. You're welcome. This is gonna cash. This is hitting. The same game parlay I put out today for you guys is hitting. Full confidence, man. I mean, we went over it in the video. I have no idea which of those is going to lose. I don't understand that. But let's look at the NFL here. Ladder challenge, man. We're going to be looking at this upcoming week. I do think we're going to use Thursday's game as part of it. I'm not just going to straight bet it. I mean, if I find a straight bet, like for the second round or the third or something, maybe one of the rounds on the ladder challenge, I will just do a straight bet if I think there's a lot of value. But I looked briefly through the week 15 games. I don't think there's a game strong enough for me, or a total on these games that's strong enough to where I feel like we should put the $1,000 on it for the first round. So it's just going to be a big parlay. It's going to be a big parlay, alt spreads, alt totals, props. We're going to use the whole slate, man. We're going to use all these games and just pick the very best stuff at alt lines, put it together somewhere near plus 100 odds. And you know the drill, man. Double it, double it, double it. We're going to do it 5 times. We're going to take $1,000, turn it into $25,000. And in that last round, when we get up to a point, because it'll go 1 to 2 to 4 to 8 to 16, when we get to $16,000, we're going to take money out, right? We're going to take some money out because it's a $1,000 to $25,000 challenge. If we doubled the 16, it would go to 32. But at that point, if we have 16K off of $1,000, it doesn't make a lot of sense to risk that. So we have to take profit, and at the same time, it'll still leave us with a big enough balance to where we just have to double it one more time to hit our $25,000 goal. So once we get to that level, once we have the 16K, we're going to take out almost $4,000, knock us back down to 12.5, and then we'll have one last bet. And even if that last bet comes up short, we still made a few grand off the challenge. So hopefully you guys will tail along. You don't have to use $1,000. I know a lot of people don't have $1,000 that they can just do a ladder challenge with. But hey, 25x, whatever money you want, man. As long as they don't leave out an undefeated team and get the top 5 in, it's a great thing. Yeah, I mean, not really. Not really. I mean, it's about having the best teams. I want to see the best teams play. I don't think cupcakes should be rewarded for a dog shit schedule. It just is what it is, man. But hey, you know, it's the first year that this thing's expanded to 12. Maybe we'll be stunned. Maybe Boise State makes a nice run in this thing. Maybe SMU makes a nice run in this thing. Indiana, I don't know. Maybe some of the teams we're not expecting are going to show up and pull some upsets and make it to the final. Anything's possible. It's college football. Zach says, I got 10 to start. Let's get it. 10? Solid, man. $10 to 250. Heck yeah, dude. That would be a nice little way to build a bankroll. Solid little chunk of money there. A couple $100. All right. So Thursday's game, Rams, Niners. I mean, 2.5 point spread. I feel like we'll probably have an alt spread in there. Something in here. Yeah, pretty good. Pretty good numbers on those. Interesting. The point total as well. It's at 48.5 right now for Thursday in this Rams game. So what would somewhere in the mid 30s, you'd think. 33, 32. Yeah, right in that zone. So I'll probably have a little bit of action here on Thursday for the ladder challenge. It'll be, like I said, I'll roll the video out probably on Wednesday. And then, yeah, let me do that. I'm going to roll out. I think I'm going to do another same game parlay for you guys for Thursday night football. So I think tomorrow I'll release the NFL Week 15 video going over each game with my prediction on the spread, total, whatever. Give you guys the whiteboard winning free pick of the week. Wednesday, I think I'm going to be ready to go. I think I'm going to launch the ladder challenge video on Wednesday. Round 1, it'll involve all of the game. I'm not going to bet them all, but we're going to use the entire week of NFL just for round 1. Like I said, it's a New Year's Eve challenge. We got the whole rest of December to complete the challenge and 25x our money. Get to $25,000. So I'm in no rush. And I'm going to use the entire week of what's available to put some things together to get to plus 100 odds. I'm not going to try to like use the 1 p.m. games to double it and then use Sunday Night Football to try to do like it. We're not that crunched on time. Got the whole rest of the month of December to do this. So have some patience, follow along. 25x, whatever dollar amount you want to start with. I'm going to get this done. I'm going to put a lot of effort into this. I've done stuff like this before. I am going to do this. I am going to complete this. Full confidence. But let's go back here to the slate real quick. So let me actually start writing some of this stuff down because I'm just going to be up till 4 a.m. all week long. At least over the next couple of days, putting together this first round ladder challenge for you guys. It's going to hit. It's absolutely going to hit. So Thursday night, I think I know what I'm going to use with that. Actually, I wanted to look at the passing props. I'm a little worried, just a little bit worried because of Stafford's coming off such a good game. Actually, they're not even up yet. They don't even have those up yet. So I'll skip that for right now. Kind of a hunch though. Washington and the Saints. I think Derek Carr is done for the rest of the year. So possible, maybe like money line Commanders. Maybe it's still a road game in the NFL. A little bit of a sneaky spot there, but something like that has potential to be thrown in. Bengals, Tennessee. Depending on what happens tonight in the Cowboys game, maybe we even throw something risky like this in the mix. Because I think if the Bengals can win tonight, God, I know mathematically it's like the chance the Bengals can make the playoffs, it's almost zero. It's so low. I don't think they're going to make it. But if they win tonight, is that enough of like, okay, guys, maybe we can do this. Maybe we can win out and give ourselves a chance. So, maybe something like this. If the Bengals win tonight, the momentum carries over. Tennessee just loves to find ways to lose football games. So maybe we'll look at like a Bengals money line to throw in there. I mean, minus 230, we wouldn't really need that much more. We could even go alt spread, take some extra points with the Bengals in case they blow it at the end. They don't have a defense, so always a little bit of risk there. Dolphins, Texans, interesting. Maybe like an alternative total over we might take from that game, throw it in. Something in like the low 30s. Probably could get there. Kansas City and the Browns. Probably a stay away game there. That might be an upset. Interesting one there. Dallas, Carolina. Again, depending on what happens tonight, man. If the Cowboys win tonight, they might really start believing that they can make the playoffs. If the Cowboys can win tonight, possibly an alternative spread with the Cowboys against Carolina could be in the mix. But again, we have to ask ourselves, if we're going to lose a wager on this challenge, if we are going to lose a wager on the ladder challenge, can we deal with it if it ends up being like let's say we just take an alternative spread in this Cowboys game. We throw in like Cowboys plus 10.5 into the parlay. If they win tonight and they, we get some quotes out of the locker room, the press conference after the game tonight is a lot of the players buying in and they're happy and they're energetic and they really believe they can still find a way to make it the playoffs this year. If we get like that much encouragement, Carolina, look, I get it. They were competitive against the Eagles. We saw them competitive against the Chiefs. They're playing better. Young looks good. I think it's easier coming in as a huge underdog and coming in with no expectations. Now, if you're going to give us Carolina as a favorite, I know this is a bad year for Dallas, but like really, the Panthers, we're really actually going to have them as a favorite. I mean, that's where you come in. You probably assume the Cowboys might even win the game outright. We come in with an alt spread. We grab a lot of points in our back pocket, assuming a competitive game is in the mix. And, we throw that in the parlay. So, there's I'm going to write down some things. I mean, we got some alts on certain teams that I can write down, Cincy, if win tonight. Look at alt. I mean, I'm gonna put this together, man. I still got some time. I'm gonna drop the video on Wednesday, but there's a lot of games here that I think I really like the spreads. I really think I know what's gonna happen in the game. So if we take alternative spreads, give ourselves a little bit of a safety net in case there's some fluke plays, we should be able to get this done, man. This is a nice big slate of competitive games. By the way, this Bills spread is dropped. This is down to almost a pick 'em, +1.5. We could come in with the Bills, Bills plus like 14. Just throw an alt spread in. It'll be like -900, -1,000. Throw it in, man. We only need 5 or 6 bets like that together to double our money. And we're just going to do this for the rest of December, man. We're basically going to use the whole week and just take the best things we can possibly find from the whole week and just double it. We only have to double our stuff 5 times to take $1,000 to 2,500, and that is with profit taking. So yeah, we could go alt spread on Seattle at home versus the Pack. Seattle's been good. Like maybe Green Bay goes on the road. I don't, covering the spread here. Not really sure, but if you took like Seattle plus like 20 at home, like you'd feel pretty good about something like that. Or an alternative over in this game. Jordan Love in the Packers offense, Geno Smith in the Seattle offense. Like we could go alternative like over like 34 or something in this game. And that would probably be okay to throw in. So I'm going to keep looking at this stuff. I'm going to keep crunching the numbers, but yeah, we're going to hit this, man. We're going to hit this. Cowboys money line 1 unit. Yeah, I like it. I like the Cowboys tonight. I think they probably win. I mean, come on. This is the NFL. The whole universe. Guys, do you want betting splits before I hop off here? Been on here for almost an hour, so I'm going to hop off in just a second, but I'll bring up the money splits as we're just about at game time. By the way, this line has gone down. A lot of 4.5s across the board. 68.4% of bets against the spread are on the Bengals. Everybody bet the Bengals. Everybody bet the over. It's a Monday night football game, and it's in Dallas. I mean, come on. I mean, how many times have we seen this before? Bengals, they'll look good. They'll win most of the game. They'll blow it at the end because they have no defense. But the Cowboys probably win the game outright. But yeah, guys, like I said, I'm dropping the video tomorrow. I'm going to go over every single game, spread predictions, total predictions for NFL Week 15 tomorrow. Ladder challenge round 1 video on Wednesday. And then Thursday, I'll have a same game parlay video out for Thursday football. Friday, I'll probably drop my college football playoff predictions. Try to get some college basketball in the mix, but there's a lot going on right now football-wise. So I don't want to... it's hard for me to upload like 3 videos a day, not because I can't, I don't have the time to. It screws up with the algorithm of YouTube. So I try to just keep it to 1 video per day. But yeah, guys, that's it. I'll catch you in the next video.